So we have a system, we have DFPS and CPS, who have lost, let die, let go in to prostitution, sex trafficking, and we've known this for 20 years. I personally met with, when Whitman was appointed, he's the ex-Texas director of the Texas Rangers, I met with that man. He was supposed to clean it up. He left early because it was such a hot mess. He said, I can't do this. This thing is broken, it needs to be burned down. I met with Treasurer Woodward and Tiffany Roper, who at the time were assistant deputy directors of DFPS and CPS. I went to Austin, well, here, forget where I'm at sometime. Yeah. I came here, met with them, sat down and said, what are we doing? And I laid out, I spoke to them for over 2 hours, and they're both attorneys, by the way. There's almost no one that works in DFPS that has a child development background. Mine's experimental in child development. I am a researcher who knows what harms children and how to fix it. No one in this organization has that. They're attorneys, so we don't get our butts sued. And they'll say, well, you need to go talk to the legislators. Okay, so we go talk to them. So I met with some guys, a bunch of them, Sugar Land. I've gone all over the state. So we need to fix this. Where do y'all get your ideas from? DFPS and CPS tell us what they need. So the people who don't know how to do it come back to you and say, I need you to do this so it's harder to sue us. And then we go on. And these workers, this thing I was talking about, the girls that we know have been prostituted, that didn't get moved, they'll probably close the foster facility down, but the workers will get, remember the whole pedophile priest thing? The worker will get transferred to another place. The supervisor will go to another department. The area director will go to another department. And if they keep their mouth shut, some of them might actually get promotions out of it. And they'll say, we took care of it, they're no longer here. Well, they're no longer here, but they're in the next town over. They're in Georgetown, or they're now in San Antonio. And that's the way it works, and has forever. Because again, it's cheap. If I want to sue CPS or DFPS, I have to go to federal court. Well, these little girls don't have anybody to go to federal court for them. And then for a family who gets abused by them, because that happens all the time, how many of them have the hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to federal court? Has anybody ever tried to teach themselves federal law? I actually have. So I will tell you, it is a pain in my white butt. It is way beyond state law. It is so complicated. So most of them don't have that ability. So who's going to stand? Well, no one's going to stand up, and that's kind of the thing with the system. And DFPS and CPS also have what's called immunity. Go figure, it's amazing. They claim immunity all the time, and they get away with it if you don't know how to argue against it. All of these organizations have this immunity. And so we know we're destroying our children, yet we come over here and we say, oh my God, the fatherless crisis. It is so horrible, because y'all want the stats on fatherlessness, or do you know? 700 times the national average on suicide, 600 times the national average on drug, alcohol, and addiction, single mother parents, dropping out of high school, having broken families yourself, right? It's pretty well known. It's been known for decades, just like, milk is white and cigarettes are bad for you. We've known this. Yet we are creating fatherlessness. So we cry fatherlessness over here, but we do it in our family courts. Our prisons are full. Walk into a prison and say, hey, how many of you were raised in a nuclear family? Bam. Or almost bam. Walk into, and no offense, but I wasn't always a Christian, walk into a strip club and walk up to those girls and say, hey, how many of you had a dad at home? Bam. And if they did, it was a meth head. And that's because mom died. There's a pattern. Go to the cemeteries. It's full. The homeless shelters, it's full. All these things that we say we're really concerned about, oh, it's so bad, we need to help these people. We don't ever address the root cause. We've actually monetized it. We have made money off of it. If we have something in the child support, again, let's support those kids. Well, we're not using it for it. In our family code, it tells judges to maximize the amount of Title 4D funds received from the federal government. What's a Title 4D fund? It is money that the federal government gives to the state every time they order child support. It incentivizes it. And the higher the bill, the more chunk of the money. And so the state gets money, and then the OAG takes a little bit and turns around and says, you're the county that did it, so here's your chunk of money. And so the county says, oh, thank you. Guess what? We're going to offset the salary of our judge. And some judges actually get bonuses for ordering child support. Wait, so if I go do this, I can actually make myself, well, that's a whole different thing, right? Yeah. That's amazing. It's kind of like people who get to give themselves raises, but we're not in that spirit right now. So, that's horrible. But what about Texas? Well, they take 1/5 of all the Title IV-D funds meant for the nation. We are one state, and we take almost 20% of the Title IV-D funds. We take twice as much as California, which has 10 million more people than we do, and is some would say is more liberal, but I would actually beg to differ on some issues. We have twice as much Title IV-D funds as them. And Florida, put them together, we still bring in more. How do we bring in so much if we have not learned how to benefit off the backs of broken families